Audi S3 2017 plate, customer complaint, SRS light on the dash. As you can see there, I've got the steering wheel turned because I've started doing a bit of work, which I'll get to in a minute. So I ran a scan on Audis. I was just trying to hold the camera steady. So G570, G571 are the fault codes that are relating to the airbag system, so I'll just expand them. Touchscreen's a wee bit fiddly. Okay, so G570, you can see it's coming up driver's side open circuit to positive and it's static. Okay, and then we look at G571 passengers protection, crash sensor passenger side. It says passenger side there and it's sporadic. Now garage just had a wee look at this. I'm not sure which garage, I think it was someone that the owner knew. So I think it has been at a garage though. So I think that's just been introduced by the garage, just unplugging. So I'm not too worried about that. I'm more concerned about the G570, which is this one here. So for any ELSA, I pulled up ELSA, so this is the instruction here. And it's located behind the bumper and it sits at the side, I believe, of the crash beam. There is a couple down there, so it's maybe a wee bit hard to tell when you're in there, but we'll have a look when we're in there anyway. So this is where I'm going, you can see it there, and then it's just the rest of the instruction here. So I'll go back up, so I'll just downsize that. I'll get into self-diagnosis. Self-diagnosis is a section of this where you can read the fault memory over and over, so I can cycle this every second to read the memory. And I've got, obviously, the only fault that I've got there just now is this, because I've erased the other one, I've erased the sporadic fault, so I'm just left with this one. So if I cycle that, it cycles the fault memory for the whatever system you're in, and I'm in the airbag system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug the sensor that I think it is on the driver's side, and we'll come back and we'll reread the memory. I think we'll need to have the ignition on though, just because of the nature of the system. I think the ignition would need to be on to reread the memory, so we'll stop that just now. I've turned the ignition off, and I'll take you out to the behind the bumper where I am, and we'll unplug this sensor and we'll come back in. Now bear in mind we're on the driver's side, alright? What usually happens sometimes, and I found it's happened today, is when you're on the driver's side, it's actually referring to the other side because the German's driving the other side, especially with crash sensors. I found this fault, but I took a gamble and went to the driver's side on this car just because I thought that was the one that was actually meaning, but I'm just going to show you how I got that one wrong. So we can see the guy had a wee bit of an accident, a wee bit of damage on the other side as well. You see down there, so either side's had an impact. So I've just kind of jacked it up at one side just to give myself a wee bit of height. And if I pull this back, you can see just under there, under that headlamp washer, there is a sensor. And then if we go in a wee bit back more, if we get in a wee bit, there's another sensor here. So this would be the one on the end of the crash beam, which is the one I thought it was. So if I unplug it, it's loose. Unplug it. Hope I can get this unplug on hand. Yes, okay. So we'll get in the cycle of the ignition. So ignition back on. And then we'll recycle our memory. So we've connected to the car, you can see the wee key symbol up there. Let me get my pointer. Recycle that memory, and you can see that we had this crash sensor driver side, we've introduced this other fault. Passenger side protection crash sensor open circuit to positive. So now I need to go to the other side and jack up the passenger side, which for this machine it means the driver's side, so I hope that makes sense. We'll just plug that back in. I'll go and unplug that one at that side. We'll see if the fault's just stayed the same, and then we'll try and use a decade box to bypass that circuit and see if we can prove the fault is the sensor. Okay, we're still left for this fault code. I'll show you what's happened. So you can see this one in here, unplugged that and it came up another fault code, so that wasn't the sensor, that's crash sensor 2. So if you look down, I should have seen it the first time I went to it. Look, there's no harness at the back. Let me focus that. I'll be able to maybe come back a wee bit. You can see down there, there's no loom The wires have been ripped right out, but I can't find the loom. So give me a few minutes to go and find this loom. Alright, so I've took this plug off. I'm going to have to put new pins in it. You see the pins are still there, but obviously there's no wiring, so I'll need to repin that. I've just left the sensor sitting in there, see it? Just sitting there. So I followed the looms all the way across. Get this wee kind of thin loom here that goes under, plugs onto that bigger plug there, and then I've noticed this would be a bit raggedy. So after looking for a few minutes, I'll try and zoom in. I'm pretty sure this is where my wires are. See them in there? I have to run new wires to this. I don't know if I've got enough wire to put a decade box on it right here and prove the sensor's okay, but okay, let me see. That's definitely the wires. Yeah, let me take this tape off. Okay, so all I've done is put my decade box there into the two wires. I just wrapped them around, they're hanging off anyway, and I've put it to 3 ohms. It has created fault codes. It's not fixed the fault because I don't know what the resistance value should be. But with creating the faults, it's changed the faults to short to ground, so I'm quite happy with the wiring all the way back. So I'm confident enough the sensor's probably going to be okay, and I'll just quote the guy for the wiring repair just now and we'll see if it fixes the fault. I'll update the video next week. Thanks very much.